I'm here in Cheshire visiting Bowdon Rugby Club. We're here to talk to Mark Jordan, who is the chairman of the club, about their experiences of using England rugby deals.
I think that was an email about 2.5 years ago, one of the England Rugby's rugby community updates. We get information on a monthly basis, and it mentioned this England rugby deals, which was an opportunity to have your spend pattern analysed, and they had some preferred suppliers for a number of expenditure areas, and I just thought that was a no-brainer really, especially when at that point I think it was the first so many clubs that signed up. We got a free visit, so whoosh, I was straight in there. It's very good. I was asked to prepare some invoices, so I guess I needed something to talk about. Where did we spend our money? How much money did we spend? Sat down, Amanda Partington from England Rugby Deals came along. We had a nice casual discussion. It was two-way really. We presented invoices for the areas that we were spending money on, but then also got some feedback in terms of the areas of possibility and the areas that England Rugby Deals had preferred suppliers for, which some of them were new to me. You know, I knew we spent the monies in some areas. I didn't realise that there was an opportunity to benchmark that, and that we were a number of suppliers. We've been through, or at least we've identified all the expenditure areas that we've got that could marry up with the preferred suppliers and the areas that England Rugby Deals dealt with. And we went through each of those areas and tried to find invoices, which actually wasn't too easy for us at that point in time because some of our finance was a little bit messed up in terms of record keeping. But it forced us to get a better idea of what we spent money on and how much we spent in each of those areas. And we're then able to send invoices to England Rugby Deals, who would benchmark that with their preferred supplier option, and then we'll come back with us with alternatives. So we've pretty much nearly now been through all of our expenditure. In terms of just the spend profile, that was quite useful. That was a bit of work we had to do. So we had to understand our expenditure, where we spent money. The benefit we really got from England Rugby Deals was that was all we had to do, which I'm sure there's plenty of rugby clubs out there that know where they spend money anyway. But the next stage is, well, who are the preferred suppliers? What are the alternatives? The negotiating, the identification of preferred suppliers, and also England Rugby Deals are representing over 2,000 rugby clubs potentially in the UK. That's a huge spend for a lot of suppliers, and so we're not surprised to find that some of the big suppliers are actually giving discounts and benefits as a result. So that saved us a huge amount of money, and I'd like to consider them as basically our free purchasing department or our free purchasing consultant, where they do all the hard work and they work in the areas that they know. And for a lot of rugby clubs and myself particularly, I don't know what I don't know, and England Rugby Deals managed to fill that gap. Another number of ways. One has been the local account manager, which is what we've used, and I think based on our initial experience, that's where we've continued to use. But I do know there's a portal, and all the deals available are on the portal. So those people, like most of us, like to go online and Google and have a little look. We can go through that, and there's a chat facility there where you can actually ask questions directly, so you can engage with the services that way. There's also the local RDOs. They have some ideas, they're informed. It's the England Rugby Deals approach, so you can use that as well. But to date, we've just used the account manager. One of the areas we saved on was, I guess, one of our biggest spend areas is energy. So there's an energy broker there, and we've just got routinely onto every year or 14, 18 months, whatever it is. We just go through that process to benchmark and get the best energy deal. There were bathroom services where we didn't need to change supplier at all. We just got a better deal with the existing supplier. There was pest control, where we made a significant 60% saving for actually an improved service. So that was quite an eye-opener. I think that highlighted to me, with a bit of reflection, is how do we end up in a lot of these situations where we can make 50, 60% savings on some contracts. Is that, and I know we're an example, I suspect others are the same, is usually wait till you've got a problem, or wait until you have an area where you need to spend some money, like pest control, and you talk to each other, try and identify a supplier that somebody knows, ring them up, ask them to come and do a service for you, and then they send an invoice to the treasurer pays it, and before you know it, you're into a permanent contract with the supplier, having never negotiated the rate or the price or even the scope of service. So it comes around to getting England Rugby Deals. Have done all that in terms of scope, benchmarking, service, and say in some cases we've managed to make 56% savings on contracts. Yeah, and in terms of the negotiations that England Rugby Deals have done, the pest control service, for instance, when we changed to their supplier, or the preferred supplier, part of the deal is that we got 3 months free service to start with. So that first year, of course, you obviously saved much more than the 60%, but ongoing, we know we've got the value for money benchmarked market rate contract. Then we also signed up to some call-off services. So there's screw fix, we've got 5%, book at 2%, and staples is something in the region of 20%, massive savings really. For me, the advantage of those were the call-off services, so we can order it online and get it delivered. Our practices were to send someone out to the local wholesaler, buy whatever they could buy, take cash out of the till to pay for it, come back with receipts or not, as some of the cases might be. So it's helped us tighten up a lot of processes and also save time. You know, some of the people going out to get the goods, having taken cash out of the till, were actually employees. So Booker, for example, can take 3-4 hours to get to Booker, go around, select all the equipment or all the purchases, pay for them, bring it back. And so that would save 3 or 4 hours of someone's time on top of the 2% saving we'd get on the deal. So we're looking forward to that. So it's time saving for our employees as well as cost saving on the individual prices. Another one was of an advantage was telecoms. So we'd signed up to a telecoms deal previously and had let it roll for something in the order of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years maybe. So we did a bit of analysis, benchmarking against our invoices, and England Rugby Deals identified that we were actually paying £200 a year for something we didn't use. So that was a straight off saving, and the others we've changed and compared with other sort of local contractors and suppliers as well. And our broadband, we've got a better deal, and we know we're tied into our telecoms deal until October this year, in which case we'll then go back and look at that and do a benchmark again. So again, with all of our expenditure areas, we'll benchmark what we're spending, the service that we're getting against what's available, and we'll make the right decision for the club. So the one service I think that all rugby clubs will use is utilities, gas and electric. And from a domestic perspective, we all know how much that costs. And at home, I guess a number of us use Uswitch, compare the market, the compare sites to switch whenever our contract ends to make sure we get the best value for money from our deal. And that happens with England Rugby Deals as well. So you can be prompted to, towards the end of your contract, for them to go out and research the market and come back with the best offer for you as a rugby club, so you know you're always getting the best available utilities bill. But for me, though that's the biggest one, for me the advantage was actually just understanding your whole spend profile. So what services do we use, how much do we spend, and what's the scope of service, and getting and benchmarking that against England Rugby Deals offering. And I guess it's at the end of the day, you make the best deal, the best decision for your club, so that you know you're getting the right service, the right scope, and at the best available price for that. So we're a rugby club, so we spend our money on rugby. So a lot of our activities are all around generating income and money, so that we can spend that on rugby, be it on the pitches, be it on coaching, be it on kit, be it on buses for travel or whatever. So yeah, pretty much we're all here to focus on rugby football. I think it's moved us forward quite a lot. We're like every other club, we're relying on volunteers, and volunteers' time after your family and your job, you know, and your other interests, and there's time to spend on rugby. So we have a number of people who are responsible for certain areas of our spend, you know, in terms of our facilities and pitches, and they'll do their best that they can. However, we've got the opportunity with England Rugby Deals to have a professional purchasing service to support those activities that's got the time and effort and experience and knowledge to go out and benchmark the marketplace and number of spend areas and come back with preferred suppliers, scope of services, etc, etc. So I think it's a huge help to the ongoing running of the club in terms of supporting our volunteers in their endeavours to save money and get the best bang for the buck to spend more money on rugby. Absolutely, I think this isn't a one-off exercise. This is an ongoing process, certainly for me. It's been great in terms of getting us into discipline. We're identifying all of our spend areas, the scope of service that we've got, the money that we spend in each area, and setting us up so that we can have timescales, when's those contracts up for renewal, how long do they last, and to continue to use England Rugby deals as part of that review process on an ongoing basis. So yes, I think we'll continue to use them. Well, if you're not thinking about it, maybe you ought to think about it, even if you don't use it. If you're a rugby club that doesn't need to save money, then don't waste your time. If you are a rugby club that needs to save money, then it's time well spent. And if you get to the end of the day where you don't make any changes whatsoever, you will be assured that actually you're getting the best bang for your buck. The chances of that happening are pretty slim, because I think a lot of the contracts end in place through serendipity, and if you've got the best bang for your buck with the right supply at the right price for the right scope of service, well done. But my guess is there's room for improvement.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Amanda.